Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Miscellaneous Debris Podcast with me, your host, the host of the most, the Mad Chat, Ryan MK. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram at RMK Madness. Thank you for joining the show once again. Hope you've been well. Hope you've been well. Pretty good here at the Madhouse MK, if I don't say so myself. I'm nearing the end of the second Game of Thrones book. Well, really, Song of Ice and Fire. Because of the show, I get so used to calling the whole thing Game of Thrones. But really, the entire series is called A Song of Ice and Fire. The first book is called Game of Thrones. So yeah. But anyway, nearing the end of the second book, just got through the Battle of Blackwater. Oh, it's fucking intense. You know, one thing I love about Thrones is the chapters. And if you're not into any of this, I apologize. And if you're a fan of Thrones, but you just know Game of Thrones, the show, you don't know A Song of Ice and Fire, the book series, you need to check it out. It's amazing. But one thing I love about it is the chapters are character viewpoints. There's no numbering. No, it's just this chapter is what's going on, the events unfolding from this character's viewpoint. And then so in the Battle of Blackwater, there's a few different people that you're getting their views from during this battle. And I love the way it's written. Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire. It's fucking amazing. But so I just going through the reread of that, of course, audiobook by way of audiobook, and going through that again at work, and chewing through it after I got to get through my podcasts first. I spend those first couple of days at work going through, my football podcasts, my comedy podcasts. I have my stuff I listen to, my UFO podcast. I love getting in on that shit every week. So I have my set of podcasts, and I usually do those first couple of days. And sometimes I get a little in a day, I might get a little bored with the podcasting. So I might switch to some music or go with the book. But I tend to save the music for right before lunch, right before the end of the day, get y'all fired up. But particularly at the end of the day, when you're all cleaning and shit, you gotta have some good music on. But I digress. So I'm getting through the Game of Thrones, and I get to that usually Saturday is my big book day, so it's fresh in the mind. But speaking of work, had a bit of a rough week of work, missed a day of work, thanks to my stomach. My stomach's been off more than usual because I do have IBS, which is the Irritable Bowel Syndrome. And I've just been having issues with it. I've been scoped, down the gullet. I've had a tube down the gullet, had a tube up the ass. There was a few non-cancerous, what do they call it, polyps, and when they scoped down the gullet, but nothing major. But I have had, as you all madcaps know, I have had a bit of a stressful couple of months recently. And so I figured if I was going to be dealing with some major stomach problems, it'd be then. But maybe now that there's been less chaos the past couple of weeks and, I've kind of settled back in, maybe my body's finally getting to absorb everything that's happened and react to it. And I'm just kind of out of whack. I don't know. Beats me. But I dealt with some major tummy problems early in the week, or midweek, I guess I would say. Early in that work week. It's just not fun. So take care of your gut, people. Just take care of yourself, period. It's something I'm trying to get better at, because I know stress doesn't help my stomach and neither does my diet. So I'm trying to do better with my diet because that shit's important. And got to get back on my probiotics. That'll help too. Take care of you. Got take care of yourself. I mentioned dealing with some mental shit as of recent, like, so trying to get into therapy just to, comedian Chad Daniels put it best. Even if you got nothing going on at times, it's great. Just it's like a oil change for your brain. And I just feel that I'm at the point where I'm long overdue. My brain is for an oil change. So take care of your mentals, as Marshawn Lynch, the beast mode, would say. Take care of your gut, as I would say. And yeah. But otherwise, I think one thing I do a lot that is good for my health is laugh. Laugh a lot. We laugh a lot in this household. We do. And my wife and I, very strong, I would say. And one of our bonding moments on a daily basis is having a little smoke, a little smoking a pancake, bong in a blint, crepe and what was it? Pipe and a crepe. Is that it? But we have a little smoke and watch us some ridiculousness. And not every night, but a lot of nights, little powwow at the end of the night. And we're watching ridiculousness tonight. Because as you madcaps know, you'll all get this Monday, but I'm recording Sunday night because I record at night. I record late at night, oftentimes into the hours of the morning. But I record late because I wait till everybody goes to bed, so I get my time in with my fam, and I record after. And so earlier, with the wife, watching some ridiculousness, and they just had some funny videos of some cops doing some funny shit. At one point, they were trying to catch this dude. He was on a bike, and he basically ran into a cop car and then just fucking, instead of like, he must have been in some kind of I don't know I don't have the full context of the video, but all I know is dude ran into the cop car and then he just started running away and two cops started running after him. But it was like, are they going like, is everybody just jogging here? Like nobody's really trying that hard, because it didn't look like any of them were running very fast. And somehow with, the peeps on the show, Chanel, Stilo, Rob, if you've never seen Ridiculousness, it's a show on MTV. And it's just clips of people doing stupid shit generally. And it's funny. And Rob Dyrdek, Stilo Brim, and Chanel West Coast all chill and talk about the videos as they are played. So I'm sure most people who would listen to this, watch this, pay attention to me, probably have an idea of what ridiculousness is anyway. So that was probably a waste. But this video is funny. Somehow they all get into talking about, because I think Stilo misheard something and he said something about the cop Olympics. So, and it was all about, that would be one of the events, like chasing down a criminal. And that got me thinking that would be fucking fantastic. I don't know. I don't know if we could use some cop Olympics to kind of help separate the good ones from the bad ones. But I imagine there's probably some bad ones who would do well in an Olympic setting. But I don't know. It depends on what you have as the events, right? So you got the cop chasing the criminal, but let's go keep doing a speed test. The speed test, speed traps. Who sets the best speed trap? Something like that might be interesting, but kind of lame. What about house party breakups? I love when you get into a situation where a cop shows up and there's a bunch of people and they just disperse in many a different direction. And then the cop doesn't know what. So what do cops do in that situation. That would be a fun Olympic event. But more importantly, shit like what do they do when you get pulled? Like pull over a black person and don't shoot them. That could be an Olympic event, right? Because I mean, I imagine there's a good amount of cops that'd be pretty easy for, right? You just don't shoot them. Yeah, we don't shoot anybody. That's not what we do. But there's some motherfuckers that would definitely have a hard time with that event because they seem to think, it's just okay to do that kind of thing. This cops guy, immunity and shit. Anyway, not against cops, not against all cops, people. I'm sure those who listen to this, they get my same views, sentiments. We have the same principles. So they know what I'm saying. But for anybody new, I'm not against cops. But there comes a time I'm more irritated that the police force in general across the country has gotten to a point where we're not, vetting people enough, where it's become too easy to become a cop. I don't like that because that does make it easy access for pissed off people, for prejudiced people, people that really shouldn't have power and a gun and a badge and all of that. I mentioned before, it took longer for my wife, a veteran, by the way, takes longer for my wife, took longer for her to get her license for haircut. Yeah. Than it does for a cop to get a badge. And some people will argue with that. Well, they got to go to college for 4 years or whatever. They got to get a degree. What the fuck ever. When it comes to specific training for that position, my wife went to college too. Specific training for that, for the badge. Less time than specific training to get a license to cut hair. And my wife, also being a veteran, would tell you that, they're pretty strict in the military as far as when it comes to civilians, you never fire upon them. And if you do, it's at the feet, things like that. So this idea that, the cops need to protect themselves, that's not even what how our military is supposed to handle things. Now, that's coming from my wife. I'm no veteran. Telling you, if I was in Vietnam, I would have been one of those motherfuckers, probably dodging the draft, which sounds shitty, but I would have been one of those dudes like, I'm not trying to fucking go fight in Vietnam. Are you fucking kidding me? Now, World War II, different story. Give me a rifle. Let's kill some Nazis. I'm all in. I'm all in. Let's take out some Nazis. I'm down. And I get it. I know. There's lots of situations around the world that aren't great, but it's pretty clear we can't put our nose in all of them. And even more abundantly clear nowadays that we have so much of our own issues. But I've gotten way off track here. Way off track. So if you hate anything that I've said so far, because you're new to the podcast, you can stop listening. It's okay. I won't miss you. I don't even have that many listeners, and I won't miss another one if they don't have the same sensibilities, the same kinds of principles. We're not going to mesh anyway. It's all good. Deuces. For those of you that are fans of the chatter, let's continue, my madcaps. And I'll go back to my final thing with the cop Olympics. Is I really think the medals would have to be shaped like donuts, right? I think it would be fantastic. Gold donut medal, silver donut medal, and a bronze donut medal. I think that's the way to go. So yes. And while we're on the topic of food, It's a big week for food, right? It's Turkey Week, and happy Turkey Week, everyone. I was thinking it would have been fun to do something like a Mad Six of turkey movies, Thanksgiving movies, but there's really no good Thanksgiving movies, is there? I mean, not really. I mean, there's this one a coworker buddy of mine, former buddy, showed me a long time ago. It was quite a few years ago, early in my sobriety, and it's like one of those bad horror movies, but it's so bad it's funny, um, like Sharknado. Now, Sharknado, I rather enjoy, but that's kind of made to be humorous. And maybe the first one wasn't, but you can tell as more Sharknadoes came out that they were just rolling with the popularity and the humor in it all. And you could even say they went with some of it in that first, like the first one, he cuts himself out of the shark with the chainsaw. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen. Anyway, it's my kind of humor. I like dumb humor. I like complex humor, but I do like dumb humor. I like most humor. I'm not gonna lie, dark humor, plain humor, dad jokes sometimes are funny. I don't find a lot of judgment and objection with humor. So I dig me some dumb humor. And Thanksgiving is the name of this movie. Yes, that's right. Thanksgiving. And it is a horror movie that is so awful that it makes you laugh. And I would just, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, just the intro, the opening scene is a chick running in woods, and she's wearing like a pilgrim outfit, a pilgrim dress, except for it's pulled down, revealing her breasts. And so she's just running through the woods, her boobs all flopping around, and she's bloody. I think she's bloody. It doesn't matter. That's a matter. But pilgrim chick running through the woods with her tits out falls down, and she turns around, and what she sees is this rubber turkey, and it goes, nice tits, bitch. And then you see a knife raised and come down, and then it says Thanksgiving. Holy shit, it's bad. It is so fucking bad. But I was really high when I watched it the first time. And I was in tears after that because I was laughing so hard. Now, again, not a 5-star movie, but it is something that Thanksgiving wise, if you're feeling a little Thanksgiving-y and you're like, there's no good Thanksgiving movies, this is usually on Netflix. And it comes out on Netflix just about every November, from what I can remember. I haven't checked this year. And check it out. Get really stoned or drunk if you prefer. Not a drinker here, but by all means, teach their own. And enjoy the shit out of some Thanksgiving because it is humorous. But really, Thanksgiving, I mean, you could really use that for Thanksgiving movies because there's a lot of misgivings, a lot of misinformation, misgivings, not meant to be a play on words, but a lot of misinformation about the history of Thanksgiving, and it's often painted. There's a lot of American history, if you think about it, that's painted in this really like positive light. And really, I don't think enough of us have that's why I have people like former President Trump wanting to literally change shit in textbook. He doesn't want, like, there's people that don't want slavery and shit taught in school. They don't want that information out because what, it makes us look bad. Yeah, well, you keep it out there in front to remind you of your mistakes so they don't happen again. But a lot of these people who are like this are those kinds of people who deflect blame, don't like to admit mistake, things like that. So it's not surprising. Okay. And that meaning to right. And you know me, if you're new to the pod, I'll say it once, I'll say it damn near every time because it's almost a disclaimer. I'm no fucking lefty shill. I'm no fucking Democrat. I am registered as independent. And again, the two-party system is archaic and fucking stupid. It's a big reason we're in the shit that we're in because those in power have done a fantastic job of pitting the two sides against each other because one side is so fucking riled up and idiotic that it's become what it has. So, and next week, I'm actually going to get into ways in which the right have revolted against democracy. And if you're intelligent enough or well educated enough, you can see based on what other countries have done, what those such as Russia, China. You want to look at some of those places, and particularly Russia, because a one Mr. Trump has ties with a one Mr. Putin. But you look at that country and see what that's about. We wouldn't be far off if we would have left Trump go. Like, people don't understand. And I'm sure there's a chunk of people on the right that are like, okay, fine. But it wouldn't be democratic. So they can spew all they want about freedom and the Constitution and democracy and all of this. But if it came to that, they'd still just keep right on up with their ways. I mean, it's just but I'm off track again. I digress again. Next week, I'm going to talk some more about that shit. But those are my views. I think the archaic two-party system needs to go. Like so many other areas. It's another place where the United States is way behind. So many other westernized nations. They have more than two fucking parties. It's a major problem here. The two-party system. But back to Thanksgiving, the history of Thanksgiving, and why it's hard to make Thanksgiving movies, because, Halloween, it's easy. Spooky stuff, scary stuff, trick-or-treating. There's lots of themes you can go with. Christmas, you got Santa, reindeer, the Grinch is always a popular thing. So you have things there. Thanksgiving, I mean, it's really just about nowadays just eating, eating with your family. For me, watching football. I like to eat and watch my football. I mean, I don't know. If you go back in time, it's not really the way it's painted to be. Like, it's not this special festive, like, hey, look at this. Like, make no mistake. The Pilgrims, the settlers, there was obviously a lot of trouble with the Indians. We've never done right by the Native American. I shouldn't even say Indians. That's a terrible, because really, they're not Indians in the sense that you might know Indians from India, right? The Native Americans, better well said. They've never really, I mean, they've been treated horribly. I mean, it's fucking terrible to think about it, this country and the mistakes we've made, and yet we still make them. And yet there's some people who would like to cover up the mistakes of our history. I mean, it just, consider the first Thanksgiving, November 1621. It was after the colonists' first corn harvest. The governor at the time, the governor of this little group, because what happened was basically they took this ship from Plymouth, England. These ships. It's like 102 people, I think. The Pilgrims, okay? And they get right outside of, let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. I had this goddamn article that's, damn it. Hold on. History of Thanksgiving coming up. I'm sorry. Origin of Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. So, okay. Basically, this was a year earlier, okay, 1620, September 1620. 102 passengers, and they land to the New World, right? And they drop anchor near the tip of Cape Cod, okay? And through that first winter, most of them stayed on the ship, and about half of them died off due to disease and other things. And then in March, springtime starts to warm up. Remaining settlers, they went ashore. And at this time, they end up getting visited by a member of the Abenaki tribe who returns later to bring them Squanto from the Pawtuxet tribe. And he had been Squanto through a whole ordeal where he was kidnapped by an English sea captain and sold into slavery. And then he escapes to London before getting back home. And it's kind of crazy if you read about Squanto, but he taught the Pilgrims how to cultivate corn and how to get sap out of maple trees, how to fish, what plants to avoid. Shared a lot of knowledge with them, and he helped them forge an alliance with a local tribe called the Wampanoag tribe. And really, that's their alliance there that lasted for 50 years. And that's one of the only, like, I guess, that like one of the only examples of that, right? There's not a lot of harmony between the Pilgrims, the first settlers, and the Native Americans. But then the first corn harvest, they learning this knowledge from Squanto. Governor William Bradford, he wanted to get this feast going. And he invited Native American allies to this feast, and which were dwindling at that point. And this has included the Wampanoag chief, Massasoit. And now this was considered the first Thanksgiving when 1621, when these Pilgrims got together with some of these Native American allies to have a feast that lasted for 3 days. And then eventually, it took some time. There's a lot of debate about it, but Thanksgiving became a national holiday. Lincoln actually made it a national holiday during the Civil War. But it's really been, you start getting into the holiday season, and people are, it's about family and coming together. And it's hard this year because we enter this particular holiday season as divided as ever in this country. And it's sickening to see all around. But try not to get too down. We got to keep it up. We got to keep going, people. Because, oh shit. News, sports, entertainment section. We got some stuff to dive into. We got some stuff to think about, but then we'll have some fun with story time and the Mad Six. And we'll have our fun along the way. Don't you worry. And I don't know. Did anybody see? Probably not a ton of NBA fans, but the Lakers and the Pistons played a game tonight. LeBron James, like fucking, it almost was like a swinging back punch, like back fist. That's what is Kenta from New Japan Wrestling called his shit. But anyway, he fucking slammed this Pistons player in the face. And that dude was not having it. It took tons of, he kept getting out of people's grasp and just fucking going after LeBron James. Like, LeBron James is lucky there were so many people that kept going at that dude to try and stop him, because if that dude would have got his hand on LeBron James, his hands on LeBron James, he would have fucked the king up. That's all I'm saying. He would have fucked the king up. LeBron would have got tore, and he looked like in his face, he knew. LeBron seems like a tough dude, but that dude, that other dude, I can't even think of his name. What was it? Let's give this dude proper respect. I apologize. Let's give this dude proper respect. He would have whooped Braun's ass. I don't know. It's crazy. Okay, where is it? I don't know what happened to it. I lost the article. Damn it. Well, we'll get into it in a second. No, I gotta find this dude's name that would have whooped LeBron James' ass. Isaiah Stewart. There we go. Apologies. Excuse me. Isaiah Stewart would have whooped the king's ass. Get your hands on you. Oh, Lord. Okay. I guess this is a great time, now that I'm falling apart at the end of the segment, to take a break. Hand it over to our sponsors and come back for news, sports, entertainment section. That's right. Only the cross out the sponsors part, because I don't have any. Excuse me. I need a drink. The vape got me. Whew. Anyway, We're back. I spoke of division, and that division has spread to the pandemic. Obviously, we all know that, and it's that division is really doing a good job of helping COVID right now, right? Cases are rising 38 states, week to week, on a week by week basis, rising. Again, heading into the holiday season, people are going to be getting together with fams. It's terrible. Getting together with their families, not taking precautions. Because if there weren't so many goddamn anti-vax, anti-mask, anti-mandate type people, we'd have this beaten down a lot more. But it is what it is. I mean, it's something at this point we have to live with. It's like climate change. We haven't done enough. We're not going to be able to do enough to hit some of our marks. Shit's going to get worse. We just have to figure out what we can do to live with the changes that are coming with the climate. And then, try and keep it from getting any worse. I mean, it's going to take a lot. But the same thing with COVID. We nip this in the butt. We take care of this. It's not as bad now, but not enough people believe in it. Not enough people behind science. And yeah, we're already spiking. Holidays are going to make it worse. It's supposed to be a good time of the year, but it gets a little scary when you throw in the COVID. Speaking of scary shit for the holidays, just tonight we had in Waukesha, Wisconsin. I apologize if I mispronounced that city or town of Waukesha, but they were having a holiday parade. Some asshole in a red SUV drove that SUV through the parade. 20 injured, multiple dead, adults, children. Somebody said, I read something about hitting a girls' dance team. What the fuck is wrong with people? We don't really know anything up to this point as far as how many died, who they were. We don't know the cause. Apparently, they got the vehicle and have a person of interest in custody, but no information. They don't know if it's terrorist. If it's terrorism, yeah. It sucks. It all sucks. We also had the Rittenhouse trial, the conclusion of that. Now this shit, I have a little bit of an issue with this whole situation. Because he was found not guilty. Now, is there a way you could convince me it might be possible he's not guilty of straight up murder? Okay, you might be able to do that. Because I don't know if dude necessarily was like, I'm going to shoot somebody, I'm going to kill somebody. More than likely, I think it was a stupid kid who got himself into a situation. I think he was just trying to be cool, Because you look at his parents, what fucktards they are. I don't know. You look at it, he must have got a lot from them, the kind of people he's hanging out with. And it's terrible that this even happened. It's terrible that the police, well, you know what? We really appreciate you guys. We've all seen that video with the cop over the loudspeaker. I mean, this is how we're supposed to get shit done in this country. We're supposed to be allowed to protest. And people want to act like because a small percentage of protesters loot and riot, you want to paint them all in that picture? And then, because there's a lot of people on that side finding, oh, it's okay if the cops treat them like shit. They're breaking the law. They're not, they're protesting. I understand some riot and loot, whatever, but to paint all protesters as rioters, that's taking away our right to protest. And it's funny how so many of them that love to protect the Second Amendment forget about the right to free speech, or so it would seem. So you ask me, this was a situation that was just bad from the beginning. But regardless of that, dude still brought a rifle to essentially a fist fight, as I saw someone quoted. He did enter a situation he was neither trained for, prepared for. Like the cops are really okay with some 17-year-old kid probably barely knows how to use a rifle. They're okay with him just walking around. Like it's fucked. The whole situation's fucked. But not guilty? He's guilty of some shit. For sure. Again, not guilty of murder. I can see how maybe you could, but manslaughter, there's got to be something. There's got to be something. Because now, not only will this kid be hailed as some hero, but now that's going to give rise to other people doing the same shit. The next time there's a protest, a lot more people are going to feel the need to go protect the streets, quote unquote, with their weapons. And yeah, it's unfortunate. And more of how the division is destroying us and democracy for that matter. When you listen to this Monday, today, well, today's Sunday. Well, not anymore. It's Monday. So today, we'll get the decision on the Ahmaud Arbery case, I believe. Or at least I think the jury comes back to deliberate. Maybe that's where we're at. But either way, decision coming soon. So I guess we'll discuss that next week. Hopefully there's some justice in that. But in world news, there's a tennis player, female tennis player named Peng Shuai, and she is Chinese. And she'd accused early November 2nd, she accused government official in China of sexual misconduct, of forcing sex upon her. And then she kind of disappeared. And on the Chinese internet, you tried to look up her name, there was nothing. It was like she was erased. And then some government entity released videos of her just making appearances or something at a dinner, at an event. There was something posted that was apparently attached to her name that said the things that were posted were not true, something. And it's just a lot of weird shit to this. And so, of course, World Tennis Association, the International Olympic Committee, they're getting involved. And the International Olympic Committee had a video call with her apparently today, and she said she's fine and everything like that, but they're not entirely convinced. I don't know who would be, because it seems weird. And it seems like they basically got her at a point where, keep your mouth shut. I don't. China is some scary shit. Help Peng Shuai. You really think she's okay? You really think she's fuck no. Oh God. Hello, China. This is China. Can we pay more attention to this shit? I got a real problem. This is fucking. We already know about the camps, the Uyghur camps. We've got to put a stop to these motherfuckers. We got to. It's like, it's setting up character-wise. Like, if you think about world wars, the characters, like think about World War II. You had fucking Hitler, and Mussolini on the one side. Then you had Stalin, who's kind of was cool with Hitler for a minute, right? But like ultimately, Hitler hated communism. So they ended up obviously not working out. But you had Churchill on the other side, and obviously America came in out, but Churchill was like a big quote unquote character in World War II. And I mean, it's scary, but it's setting up for like World War III. You got fucking Putin, you got asshole in China. I should know his name, but I can't remember. I mean, it's just, man, there's some bad places out there. China's one of them. We got to pay more fucking attention, because this is the kind of shit where if you pay attention to this, and you've seen similar shit in the history books, that's what makes you afraid of Trump. Because if he were to somehow get reelected and be able to do what he wanted, he would be able to do some pretty crazy shit. They're already in states, making it much more difficult to vote. It's just, they will do more of that shit to stay in power and to really destroy democracy in this country, basically. Would be a joke. And he would really fuck you. I mean, the idea that in Russia, if you're publicly saying shit against Putin, you might end up missing. You don't put that shit past Trump. If, I don't know, something similar happens. The fake news thing, everybody's a liar. Like he said, he's never going to admit mistakes, anything like that. So if he does something wrong, you can't say shit about it. Off with their heads, off with their fucking heads. Because that's the scary shit. I mean, that's what scares me with Trump, his ideologies, his followers. Because Trump's also kind of a fucking frumpy idiot. And you take someone with the same plans, I guess, who's much smarter. That's dangerous. It feels like there's a lot of evil in the world right now. It's scary shit. It really is. And I mean, it just feels like, man. I know last week we kind of, over the last, maybe it was the last pod before, apocalyptic type movie, but it really did. How can it not feel any more apocalyptic? Like climate change is going to start fucking us up. Like there's a lot of evil around the world. This country's going to shit. Like we're supposed to be one of the tops. We're going to shit. Like no. There's a lot of bad stuff. And a lot of getting back to climate change, one of those things, because we're dealing with the COVID pandemic and things like that now. But one thing that is scary is the potential, when that ice really starts melting in the Arctic, the potential to get some sort of virus, some sort of disease out of that that would release something. That's a scary thought. If you read on that. And, of course, I mentioned Waterworld when I was talking about all this, because to me, that's like, of course, if we get to that point, I mean, that's a bad point, because the next scenario, the next step is, keeps getting hot and the oceans boil away. But to have a world like that was just water, actually, there might, and I say might, wink, be a planet just like that in one of the books I'm writing. You'll have to wait and see. But Waterworld, the idea that we're going to start losing land to the oceans, it's crazy. And I found this article, and it is 9 cities that could be underwater by 2030. Number 1, Amsterdam in the Netherlands. 2, Basra, Iraq. Number 3, New Orleans, USA. New Orleans. Venice, Italy. Number 4. Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Number 5. Number 6, Kolkata, India. Number 7, Bangkok, Thailand. Number 8, Georgetown, Guyana. And number 9, Savannah, USA. Savannah, Georgia. Now, 2 spots in the US. And, parts of Florida can't be like, that's the 2030. Talking at this point, that's just a little over 8 years. Right? No, I guess we'd have to go through all 20, a little over 9 years. No, because once we get to 2030, I was right. But, that's not that much time. And Amsterdam, that sucks. I want to go to Amsterdam. That's what people like. The end of our time on this planet is coming. Now, whether we do anything about that or not, we'll see. Scientists, space agencies, they're all looking for ways. And one idea I read about recently that some scientists have proposed is jump-starting Mars' magnetic field to make it habitable. And I'm like, well, that seems like a pretty good fucking idea, right? How? That's a good fucking question. Because what you want to do, what they want to do with Mars, like if we're going to try and habitate that planet, I think that's the right way to put it. We need to terraform, right? And increase atmospheric pressure above the Armstrong limit. Now, that is the threshold that allows humans to survive without a suit on, one of the full body pressure suits. And below that pressure limit, water in the lungs, eyes, it starts to boil. So we need that magnetic field to help generate, that magnetic field protects us from a lot of the harmful shit coming from the sun, right? Now, one way to get that would be to restart and get circulating again Mars iron core. If you remember, there was a movie called The Core, which is actually pretty good, but it's about that happening here, where the core of the earth stops, so they want to get it restarted again. And it's about a team that gets this like drilling machine to go to the center of the earth to fix the core. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we wouldn't need, they wouldn't need like a lot of a magnetic field, like a huge magnetic field. But if they could somehow restart the core, that would do wonders. But they could also like create a continuous solid loop or loop of solid state magnets. It says here, using a chain of coupled sources with a controlled beam or a plasma torus. And basically a big ring. I don't know, it sounds crazy. But it would be like they'd set up this big ring basically between the Martian surface and orbit, it looks like. A plasma torus was blasted off moon material. Sounds like it's a pain in the ass either way. But the idea of restarting the core just drew my attention because of the movie The Core. But I mean, that's the kind of things we're going to have to do. There's lots of idea of possibly living in the old lava flow caves on Mars, right? So underground, and that's something we may have to do here. So move to underground eventually. Yeah. It's kind of scary stuff. I know I said scary a million times, and it's Thanksgiving week. It's Turkey week. We should all be in a much happier mood, and there's so much crap to talk about, but the serious stuff going on in the country, in the world, and I'm right with everybody that wants to go to Mars, because that seems like the best fucking idea. Mainly just to get away, to get off Earth. But it's going to be a matter of, do we figure something out for humanity before our time is up? It's a good question. Good question. And you know what? I was going to take a break, but this pod's already been going for a minute. We're already running. So we're just gonna go with the one break, and we're gonna keep it rolling, get into some story time. Now, story time. It's kind of like last week, a combination of different smaller stories. And basically, one thing I've missed doing as of recent, there's a lot of things that kind of, you either stop doing because of the pandemic and you haven't gotten back to them yet, or maybe you stop doing them during the pandemic and you see, this is, I don't want to go back to that. Things are different now. And so you just don't do it anymore. But one thing that I really, really do miss is going to concerts, going to shows. And I didn't really go to too many shows when I first lived here in Colorado, but when I was living in Iowa, went to a lot of shows. But I did go to a couple here. Actually, my very first concert, if I'm to be completely honest, was a Boys to Men concert that I took a girl to, and my friend and neighbor Hemingway, a Chinese dude, he took his girlfriend, which is friend with my girl. So we took our girlfriends to Boys to Men. And Montel Jordan opened up, "This is how we do it. This is how we do it." So anyway, that was the very first show I went to. Yeah. Oh no, maybe that was number 2. You know what? That was the second show I went to. The very first show I went to was Aerosmith with my mother. That's right. And Collective Soul was there. They opened Collective Soul right off their first album, which featured their hit song Shine. So, very first concert was me and mi madre going to see Aerosmith, and that was a blast. Uh, then the Boys to Men show with my boy Hemingway and my girlfriend at the time, Tiffany. Tiffany, what's her name? Then I finally got into the metal scene, right? And I went to see the band, well, one of my favorite bands back in the day, Sepultura. Went to see them at the Ogden Theater here in Denver, Colorado. And it was amazing. I remember standing there close to the stage right before they were to come on. And this old biker looking dude looked at me and my two buddies that were there. And you've heard me speak about Anu and Adrian. We were triple trouble, we called ourselves. That's right. But we went and saw Sepultura, or we were standing there before Sepultura came on, and biker looking dude looks at us and, you guys ready to crack some fucking skulls? Yeah, yeah. Oh, puberty ass little boys' voices. Yeah, ready to crack some skulls. But Sepultura was so much fun. It was amazing. I got my shirt signed by the drummer, Igor Cavalera. I was so happy. But then Ozfest. Ozfest was such a big fucking part of my youth. The very first one, the very first year they did it, I went to the one here in Colorado. I don't think they ever did another one in Colorado except for that first year, but I was here at the very first one. There, here, whatever. But I can remember the guys and I, not my boys, Adrian and New from Triple Trouble, some other friends. We had decided, this is when I was just getting into high school, and we had decided we got to go to this fucking Ozfest. Yeah, we got to go to Ozfest. We have to do it this year. Or no, I shouldn't say this year, because that was like the first thing, but it's like, yeah, we got to do fucking Ozfest, man. Because we all talked about going to shows, and we had played in shows. We were a bunch of musicians, but we had never been to something like this. This was an all-day concert with like 20 some bands playing back to back. It was a crazy idea. And if you get the idea of Ozfest, it was always a main stage, because you've seen lots of like shoot-offs of this. There's like and I guess Ozfest is kind of like, I guess there's Lollapalooza, and there was Woodstock once upon a time. And man, did I love some fucking Woodstock. Never went to a Woodstock. What was it? Woodstock 94? The Green Day performance where they had the mud fight. There's some good shit. But anyway, Primus was at Woodstock 94. They were great. But this was kind of a thing. This was like, hey, this is for metal bands, and it's an all-day thing where you just go watch a bunch of different bands. So we were like, fucking awesome. And I remember on the main stage, Powerman 5000, Machine Head, Fear Factory, Marilyn Manson. Who else was there? It was Pantera. I think Pantera might have been there. I don't remember who all was headlining. Manson and then somebody. I want to say Pantera. I'm not sure if that's right or not. But then Ozzy, Black Sabbath, they would close out the show. There was a main stage and a second stage, and you had all the up and coming bands going on in the second stage. And it was just a blast going to see some of the younger bands, the newer bands, and then the main stage. It was just awesome. So this particular one, we had, it was at the old Mile High Stadium. We had like seats. We weren't in like a mosh type area. We had seats, and we sat right in front of this older couple, and they started sharing some weed with us, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna go to the bathroom, do this and that, make sure no one takes our seats or anything." And we're like, "Cool." Somebody comes and they do take their seats. Here's the thing: they had fucking tickets. So the people, so the couple were like just trying to nab people's seats, and then they come back and they're all mad at us, and it's like, what? What are you pissed at us for? We're not gonna hold your seats if you don't have tickets and you're sitting in someone else's seat, like fucking assholes. But it was actually that year I got expelled from school, ended up moving to Iowa to live with my dad. And then that next summer, I went to Ozfest again. I went to Ozfest almost every fucking year. One year I didn't go. I had the tickets, Didn't go because my dad woke up the day Ozfest and decided his car wouldn't make it. Because the closest Ozfest to me, where I was in Iowa, was Somerset, Wisconsin. It's about 4 or 5 hour drive. And he couldn't make it. So we were pissed. We had all this weed and all this money. So we ended up just going and buying a bunch of CDs. Me and my buddy Chris just went and bought some CDs, smoked a bunch of weed, listened to the CD. We were so bummed out. That was the one year I missed it. The year they had Tool and Primus, and I fucking missed it. But every other year I went, and the place they had it in Somerset, Wisconsin, it was almost like a crater in the earth. And it was great because it was just like this big bowl. And then, you had the space around it. They'd have the second stage on one side, main stage on the other, and it was a blast. It was the best thing. And I had a couple of different, like one Ozfest, very early on in the day. I was in a pit at the second stage, and one giant guy pushed me, and I'm not the biggest dude. I'm about 5'10", $150, not big. Big guy shoves me. I go flying into the back of another big guy, smash my nose, broken nose. I'm done for the fucking day. Done for the fucking day. So I'm literally just sitting there on my ass on the ground the rest of the day watching show because just my nose to the touch hurts like a motherfucker. And another Ozfest, I had been with a former friend and guitar player, dude named Casey. And this dude, I think his dad drove down. Yeah, we took like his dad's like van type thing, or was it like a RV? It might have been an RV. But at some point, I lost everybody, and I started talking with this girl, and I basically hung out with this girl the rest of the Ozfest, and I was still chilling with her when Ozzy and Seth and all them got done playing, and I'm like, oh shit, I need to go find my ride. These motherfuckers were driving out. I'm like walking down the line of cars, like trying to see if I can see them. Luckily, they end up seeing me as they're coming up in the line, but I'm like, these motherfuckers are gonna leave without me. But I found them. That would have been I don't know how the fuck I would have got home, to be honest. Guess I got lucky. But I've been to a lot of good shows. And even outside of metal, like I said, Aerosmith, Boys to Men, I've seen shit like Stomp. If you've never seen any Stomp, just YouTube Stomp, New York. But it's basically a group of people and they make music out of trash cans and brooms and all sorts of shit. It's amazing. And then Blue Man Group, they were a lot of fucking fun to see. They do lots of interesting stuff. So, big fan of music. and just, concerts in general. And haven't been to one in a while. The wife and I used to go see the band Psycho Stick whenever they came around. And yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. Hopefully someday soon. Hopefully someday soon. All right. Let's go ahead and knock out the end of this pod. Get into the Mad Six. And because it's Turkey Week and Thanksgiving, excuse me, Thanksgiving week, Turkey Week, Thanksgiving week, Turkey Week, blah, 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 blah. We're going to do faith things about fucking Thanksgiving, right? That's what we're going to do. So we begin. Because, again, can't do fucking Thanksgiving movies. There ain't any. And there's none. Maybe a few. Other than Thanksgiving. But nothing worth a damn, right? So, favorite things about Thanksgiving. Number 6. It is really kind of the true beginning of the holiday season because we get into Halloween and stuff, and I love October and all of that. And it does start this, 3-month journey of like, oh, you got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and really you got New Year's and fucking Valentine's Day. So it really keeps going. But fucking Valentine's Day. Anywho, it does feel like true beginning. We're getting into the, holiday Christmas type spirit. We actually already got our little tree up. We don't normally do it till the day of Thanksgiving or the day after, but this year we went a little earlier. The 4-year-old was fucking nonstop talking about it. That's part of it. He was ready to go. You know what I'm saying? He was ready for some motherfucking Christmas decorating. So yeah, true beginning of the holiday season. Number 5, bread, just anything bread. I know my mom always makes around the holiday season carrot bread. Not big on carrots, and I remember eating it as a child, but I've lost my taste for it as an adult. But it smells delicious. So whenever she makes it here, I love the smell of it. It smells great. I always want her to make me just some of the bread without the carrots in it because it smells like good bread. Anyway, dinner rolls. I love dinner rolls with my Thanksgiving dinner. I just feel like there's a lot of good bread stuff during Thanksgiving. There's a lot of good bread stuff. I love bread stuff. So there you go. Number 4, no work. I fucking love having days off work. I really do. Now, don't get me wrong. I've worked plenty on Thanksgiving because I've worked in the restaurant industry, and there's plenty of restaurants that decide to stay open on Thanksgiving. So I've worked plenty of Thanksgiving, but not this year, my friends. No, not this year. Number 3, football. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? No work. You just get to be lazy, eat all day while you watch football. I mean, there's plenty of non-football fans, my wife being one of them, but I love the football. Fucking love it. So goes right along with my personal Thanksgiving tradition. And then we go to number 2. Turkey dinner. Just give me fuck stuffing, fuck cranberry sauce. I'm gonna tell you right here, my turkey dinner. I just want a nice big pile of white meat turkey. Okay. I want a big pile of mashed potatoes. I want that shit covered in gravy. Yes. And then I want a few dinner rolls. A little bit of salt. And then give me my fucking fork and get out the goddamn way. That's what I want. Just give me that. My turkey dinner. So good. I love it so much. I remember working at Village Inn. I've worked at Village Inn a handful of times. One of my favorite things to take home was just because they actually get them little turkeys and they roast those fucking turkeys, slice them up. They're using some good ass turkey too. My favorite shit would just be to take home a nice, I just throw a few slabs of turkey in there, some couple of scoops of mashed potatoes, gravy. I don't know why I went. It's not like you spray the gravy with like a. So turkey dinner. And then number one Mad Six. My number one of the Mad Six for things pertaining to Thanksgiving is just hanging out with my fam. And fuck no, I do not mean like extended fam. I mean, I occasionally see my mother on Thanksgiving. That's fine. I like my mom and I like my brothers. But I mean, yeah, and that I haven't had a big thing like that since, yeah, it's been years. But just to have a day with the wife and kids where we don't have to, because we have days off, right? But normally my days off, the wife's got to work a little. And we do have the one day off a week where we both have it off, but then we've got other errands to run and shit to do and recharging the batteries. We're tired. So it's kind of, a day where we don't have to do shit. Nothing's open, really. So we don't have to worry about our bills or anything like that. No, we don't have any responsibility. No, it's a holiday. Eat. Chill. Watch TV. And me in the wife's case, smoke weed. So yeah. It's it's a good day. It's a good day. And I'm not one who's gonna be like, yeah, it's a celebration of America and things like that, because Thanksgiving also harkens back some negative shit between us and the Native Americans, So I don't look at it as some celebration or anything like that. I just think, I think a lot of people do nowadays. It's a holiday and a reason to come together, an excuse to come together. And yeah, I'm glad it's in a few days. I'm ready for it. I'm really just ready for turkey. I love turkey. Oh, fuck. I love turkey. I can't say it enough. Pile of turkey, pile of taters, smothered in gravy, salt. Yeah, some salt. And then a few dinner rolls. Throw in a cherry Pepsi to drink. And I'm in heaven. I can't wait. It's a few days away. I can't wait. Reminds me. I'm gonna need to get that turkey out the freezer here soon, huh? Yeah, that's right. I think that's what I got for you, Mad Caps. I really do. I really, really do. Because it's pretty late. So I'm going to have a little snackaroo. Watch a little TV. Maybe watch some Game of Thrones. Battle, blah, 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 blah. See, that's how you know it's time for me to go. Battle of Blackwater is what I was trying to say. But it's time for me to get the fuck on, beat feet, hit the road, Jack. You know what I mean. I'm going to get the hell out. But that's all right. We're good. Happy Thanksgiving, Mad Caps. Happy Turkey Week. I hope you have a good